working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, Malma Angeles. We're moving to the next stage of the pandemic, and as the world resets to the new normal, we find ourselves seeking the right balance between health and livelihood, constantly adjusting the boundaries between liberty and responsibility. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. First, the Department of Foreign Affairs is informing the public that the Office of Consular Affairs located in ASEAN in Parañaque City and its consular office in NCR South Metro Alabang Town Center will be closed today, July 6, until further notice, for disinfection of the office and premises and implementation of other preventive measures to manage and prevent risks against coronavirus disease. Applicants who have prior appointments and schedules will be accommodated as soon as these offices resume operations, and those planning to collect their passports from July 6 onwards are requested to wait for the announcement of the reopening of DFA ASEAN and the consular office in Alabang. The DFA requests for the public's understanding and cooperation as the country continues to battle against the pandemic. Majority of people still worried about the spread of COVID-19, according to a poll in Thailand. Here's Gila Pablo joining us live. Hello, Gila.
Yes, good afternoon to all the viewers. It's nice to be back in the program and to bring the latest updates here in Bangkok, Thailand. And you're right, a majority of people are still worried about the spread of COVID-19, although there have been no new infections in the country for over 30 consecutive days. That's according to an opinion survey by the Suwon Dusit Ratchabat University, or the Suwon Dusit poll. Alma, the poll was conducted online on 1,109 people throughout the country on July 1 to 4, that is to compile their opinions on the COVID-19 situation now that the government has loosened restrictions, allowing people to travel to their home provinces during the July 4 to 7 long holiday. Asked whether they are still worried about the coronavirus spread now that the country had recorded no domestic infections over 30 days. 52.93% said they are still worried about it, but to a lesser degree. The highest number of respondents, 39.40%, expected the COVID-19 situation in Thailand to return to normal by the end of 2020. And ask what they want the government to do after the situation is improved, 77.55% said it should remain strictly vigilant against the virus. Meanwhile, Alma, 2 million people rely on public transport to get home. There are more than 2 million people use public transport to travel to their provincial homes and for leisure trips on the eve of the Asana Buddha Day and Buddhist Lent weekend on Friday, according to the Transport Ministry. Alma Asana Buddha Day is celebrated on Sunday, while Monday marks the beginning of the Buddhist Lent. Monday and Tuesday are also marked as public holidays. The Permanent Secretary for Transport on Friday said 2,272,275 people boarded public transport vehicles on Friday. That is 7.79% more than predicted. And in terms of travel by private cars, 2,684,726 vehicles entered and left Bangkok on Friday. That's 15.8% lower than expected. Given large numbers of people using public transport services, he has instructed state agencies to strictly enforce health and safety measures to keep the risk of COVID-19 infection at bay. The transport personnel and passengers are required to maintain physical distancing in terminals and buses. They are also required to have their body temperature checked, wear a mask, and use the Thai China app to check in and out of the terminals. Ma Narin Pinsakun, the chief of the Kawyani National Park, said the number of visitors to the park has increased since it reopened on July 1, following months of closure due to COVID-19. In addition to that, more than 3,000 holidaymakers have logged their entry via the QQ app so far, he added. Alma, overall, visitors have cooperated by having their temperature checked and using the Thai China app, he added. Mandarin said speed cameras have been installed around the park to protect wild animals from being hit by cars. He said the cameras help ensure drivers observe the 60 kilometers per hour limit. And the number of visitors to popular tourist spots in the park is limited to prevent overcrowding amid COVID-19 fears. And those are the latest updates here. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Gila, for your updates there. Stay safe and stay healthy always.
Same to you, Alma. Once again, this is Gila Pablo reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
And staying in Thailand, few people are now visiting the beaches during the long holiday. Reporting from Pattaya, here's Esther Odanga. Hello, Esther.
Hello, good afternoon, Alma, and our viewers all around the world. So here's the latest update over here in Pattaya, Thailand. According to Bangkok Post, beaches in Pattaya and Jomtien were not as busy as expected on the first day of a 4-day holiday weekend, despite a heavy tourism promotion and the end of measures imposed to contain the coronavirus. Only a small number of beachgoers were seen swimming or gathering for meals on mats or beneath umbrellas on Saturday. Jet skis and banana boats were available for rent, but there were almost no speedboats in the water. The months-long absence of foreign visitors because of travel bans has dealt major blow to the economy of Pattaya and Chonburi province. But officials have been hoping to see many Thais indulging their pent-up desire to travel after being homebound for many weeks. Pattaya City and Tourism Authority of Thailand staged a promotional campaign offering a 50% discount for hotel rooms booked via Shopee application. Sunitsa Sukun, who rents umbrellas and sandbeds at Pattaya Beach, said the numbers of visitors in the city was not expected to be very high even though it was long holiday. She speculated that many people from Bangkok might have opted to travel farther from the capital since they had 4 days off. Even in normal times, Ms. Sunitsa said, Thai people tended to visit the Bangsen Beach in Chonburi as it was closer to the capital, while Pattaya Beach was a popular venue for foreign tourists. Pattaya City authorities had sealed off all beaches on May 9 as part of their effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The beaches were opened on June 1, along with the popular offshore destination Kolan, in line with the decline in local coronavirus infections nationwide. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Esther. I hope you had a good holiday during this long weekend.
Yes, thank you, Alma. And reporting live from Pattaya, Thailand, this is Esther Adana. We live in interesting times.
Meanwhile, the coronavirus has led to the postponement of the 13th ASEAN Summit in Cambodia. Joining us live is Crystal Ann Ballesteros. Hello, Crystal.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon. For Cambodia's news update today, the 13th Asia-Europe Meeting Summit, or ASEAN 13, to be hosted by Cambodia in November, has been postponed to mid-2020 due to COVID-19 pandemic. The postponement was unanimously supported by all senior officials leaders during their meeting via video conference early this month. It was scheduled to be held on November 16, 2020 in Phnom Penh under the theme Strengthening Multilateralism for Shared Growth. The meeting was need to be promoted effective multilateralism and collective response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused not only daunting challenges to public health system across the globe, but also a severe fallout to the global economy. Meanwhile, August will finally see the reopening of schools, which has been shuttered for months now. The Education Ministry said that it is in the process of reopening schools after more than 3 months of shutdown as part of the effort to combat COVID-19. Other education officers meanwhile told the Times on the conditions of confidentiality that about 15 high-quality private international schools, including Japanese, English, American, and French institutes, which approximately 20,000 students will be allowed to reopen first as a test case. Ministry spokesman Rosovich told the Times today that the process will be divided into 3 phases based on health safety standards of the schools. The first phase will include schools with high safety standards or preventive measures against the virus spread. The second phase will focus on schools with moderate standards, and the third will be focused on with minimum standards. Each class must have not more than 15 students, and social distancing must be strictly enforced in other areas where contact may take place, and must also be eliminated. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Crystal, for your updates there in Cambodia. You stay safe and stay healthy.
You too, Alma. Reporting live here in Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and we live in interesting times.
ASEAN in Focus. We'll be right back.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true.
It up, you came to get it drunk with a dame, I shit it drunk, you got it.
When I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Veg-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Gusto at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. Philippine immigration officers falsified records to show ex-Wirecard executive Jan Marsalek briefly visited the country after he was sacked from the collapsed German payments processor, according to the Justice Minister on Saturday. German and Philippine authorities want to question the former chief operating officer as part of their separate investigations into the Wirecard accounting scandal, but his whereabouts are unclear. Entries in the Bureau of Immigration database show Marsalek arrived in the Philippines on June 23, the day after he was fired, and then left for China on June 24. But CCTV footage, airline manifests, and other records prove Marsalek was not in the country on those dates, according to Minister Menardo Guevara in a statement. The Justice Minister also said the investigation has now turned to the persons who made the false entries in the database, their motives, and their cohorts. He also said the immigration employees have been stood down and face punishment. Investigators were also looking into possible criminal responsibility for the fake entries. Justice Minister Guevara told reporters last month that immigration records showing Marsalek's transit through the Philippine city of Cebu could be part of diversionary tactics to mislead Marsalek's pursuers. Marsalek was responsible for the Asia business that became the focus of accounting irregularities, including missing 1.9 billion euros or 2.1 billion US dollars supposedly banked in the Philippines. Now that ultimately brought Wirecard down. Wirecard has filed for insolvency and admitted that 1.9 billion euros likely did not exist. Now, Marsalek failed to turn himself in to Munich investigators despite a reported earlier promise to do so. Wirecard's former chief executive and founder Marcus Braun was bailed for 5 million euros last week after reporting to prosecutors over charges of falsifying accounts. The assets supposedly held in trust accounts at two Philippine banks were to cover risks in trading carried out by third parties on Wirecard's behalf. But the Philippine Central Bank said the cash never entered the country's financial system, and both banks, BDO and BPI, have denied having a relationship with Wirecard. Vietnam has sent a diplomatic note to protest China's military exercises near the Paracel Islands, saying it violated Vietnam's sovereignty. Ralph Wandolph Empire reports from Vietnam.
Sovereign. Vietnam has sent a diplomatic note to protest China illegally performing military exercises near Paracel Islands, urging non-repetition of the incident. I quote in a statement, "China performing military exercises at Paracel Islands has violated Vietnam's sovereignty, complicating negotiations for code of conduct of parties in the South China Sea, or COC, between China and ASEAN, as well as affecting peace," unquote. Spokeswoman Le Thi Tu Hang of Vietnam's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a press meet on Thursday. Vietnam has been in contact with and sent a diplomatic note to China, requesting it to not repeat such actions in future, said Hang. The Maritime Safety Administration of China's Hainan province on Monday announced plans to hold military exercises near Vietnam's Paracel Islands from Wednesday to Sunday. It said on its website no vessel is to enter the area in the South China Sea, which Vietnam calls the East Sea, while drills are underway. In August last year, China also illegally performed live fire drills near Vietnam's Paracel Islands. The incident comes amid international concern over China's recent actions in the South China Sea, The country has been ramping up its aggressive behavior in the waters since the start of this year as other countries focus on combating the COVID-19 pandemic. It has created the so-called Shisha and Nansha districts on Vietnam's Hoang Sa or Paracel and Truong Sa or Spratly Islands, sunk Vietnamese fishing vessels of the former unilaterally issued a fishing ban and sent a ship to harass a Malaysian oil and gas exploration vessel. Vietnam has on multiple occasions condemned China's illegal actions in the East Sea, claiming full legal basis and historical evidence to affirm its sovereignty over the Spratly and Paracel Islands in accordance with international law. All activities conducted by any party near either island without prior consent from Vietnam hold no value, it has stressed. This is Ralph Wandop Empire bringing you the latest updates here in Vietnam. We live in interesting times.
The Pentagon said it was concerned about Chinese military exercises around a disputed archipelago in the South China Sea, warning that the maneuvers will further destabilize the region. China's expanding military presence in the contested waters has worried several of its neighbors, and Washington rejects Beijing's territorial claims to much of the region, including the Paracel Islands. The Pentagon said in a statement on Thursday, quote, "The Department of Defense is concerned about the People's Republic of China decision to conduct military exercises around the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea on July 1st to the 5th. The activities further destabilize the situation in the area claimed by China, Vietnam, and Taiwan. The U.S. also regularly conducts so-called freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea in order to stand up to Beijing, where the U.S. Navy sometimes sending warships to the Paracels. The region is believed to have valuable oil and gas deposits. However, Beijing rounded on the criticism, saying that the drills were within the scope of China's territorial sovereignty. Let's listen in.
中国军队在西沙群岛有关海域进行军事训练，是中国主权范围内的事，无可非议。某些域外国家经常不远万里跑到南海来搞大规模军事活动，耀武扬威，才是影响南海局势稳定的根本原因。
The Paracels are a group of islands equidistant from the coast of China and Vietnam, claimed by both countries as well as Taiwan, and a regular source of tension. The U.S. also regularly conducts so-called freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea in order to stand up to Beijing, with the U.S. Navy sometimes sending warships to the Paracels. Now, the region is believed to have valuable oil and gas deposits. In April, a Chinese ship rammed and sunk a Vietnamese fishing boat near the Paracel Islands, notching up tensions between the two countries. Vietnam said that it had also delivered a protest note to China, warning not to repeat similar violations in the future. Vietnam said Friday that it had also delivered that protest, and the declaration signed by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN countries, said all parties would, quote, avoid activities that would complicate or escalate disputes and affect peace and stability. The Pentagon urged all parties to exercise restraint and not undertake military activities that might aggravate disputes in the region, and said it will continue to monitor Chinese military activity. Meanwhile, countries in this region in the ASEAN has begun easing restrictions that has shut down businesses and travel for more than 3 months. Malaysia's further easing of restrictive measures allow all social, education, and commercial activities to resume. Take a look.
Mesti adalah sebab tunggu 3 bulan lagi pun banyak membayar. Hari ini bisa happy lah, lebih semua.
Ya, gembira, senang karena kedai gunting rambut sudah buka kan. Jadi kita boleh pangkas dan boleh rapikan ini rambut, boleh handsome sakit lah.
I feel relieved and happy at the same time. Yeah, because this is my first haircut after like 4 months.
Data suggests that the COVID-19 outbreak in this country is under control. Businesses and activities, including barbershops, night gathering, opened last June 10. Meanwhile, Malaysia reopened schools from June 24. And mask-wearing pupils catching up with friends at one Bangkok High School were quickly told to spread out as they headed back to lessons after months of distance learning due to the coronavirus restrictions. Take a look.
รู้สึกตื่นเต้นค่ะเพราะว่าหนูก็ไม่ได้เจอคนมานานแล้วด้วยแล้วก็บรรยากาศในห้องเรียนกับการเรียนในที่บ้านกับอินเทอร์เน็ตมันก็ไม่เหมือนกันมันก็รู้สึกว่ามันจะมีอะไรแปลกใหม่หรือเปล่า
สำหรับหลังจากที่เปิดเรียนกลับมานะครับเด็กๆกลับมาความรู้สึกก็เป็นสิ่งใหม่นะครับที่ไม่ว่าจะเป็นครูหรือเด็กก็ต้องให้ความสำคัญกับมาตรการในการป้องกันนะครับการแพร่เชื้อซึ่ง
The teenagers resuming classes along with all other public school students in the kingdom chatted animatedly before being called to sit in widely spaced rows for the opening session. The school principal, Arwuth Mikanpant, warned them all to closely follow new hygiene rules, which included the face coverings and social distancing. Ahead of nationwide resumption of classes, authorities recommended that class sizes be restricted to 20 to 25 students, while doorknobs, desks, and other areas at risk of spreading infection be sanitized frequently throughout the day. Now, despite the push for normality in daily life, the kingdom's cabinet extended its state of emergency for another month. Authorities insist the emergency laws, which critics say could be used to target political dissent and censor the press, are necessary as they prepare to receive certain travelers, such as business people and medical tourists. Premier Prayut Chan-o-cha defended the decision earlier, saying the laws were not meant to curb freedoms. With tourism and export-led sectors being worst affected, the economy is expected to contract by 5 to 7% by the end of the year. Universal Studios Singapore reopened last week after being closed for nearly 3 months as the city-state implemented restrictions to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Take a look.
I feel that it's a good step forward. People are becoming more optimistic that they have places to go to and not be cooped up every day at home. So I think as long as people are being safe, it's nice to take your mind off real world issues from time to time.
There's not many people, it's all really clean and it's nice and looks nice, and it's just happy that to be back, and everything is really taken good care of. A rows between everywhere, so it's really safe also.
The estranged brother of Singapore's Prime Minister takes selfies with fans and fist bumps supporters as he joins an opposition party on the campaign trail ahead of the general election. Take a look.
I think today the PAP has evolved, and many people perceive the PAP to be a party that is the elite and is not in touch with the ground, is not concerned with issues of income inequality and poverty. And many of if you look at the manifestos of many of the opposition parties, they all deal with trying to address some of these issues. And the PAP insists that enough is being done for them. You know, my father was a product of his time, and I think he always recognized that there would come a day when the PAP might change and it might be time for change. You know, my father was pro-Singapore, not pro-PAP.
Of course, if any opposition who can bring Singapore forward, I think it's okay, whichever. You know, as long as it's good for the country, good for the people, why not?
Rallies are banned due to virus curbs, but supporters of opposing parties tried to outchant each other at a coffee shop as candidates campaigned. The Prime Minister, Lee Hsien-loong, is locked in a bitter feud with his siblings. His brother, Lee Hsien-yang, has decided not to run himself, but he joined the Progress Singapore Party ahead of the July 10 election in a new challenge to the long-ruling government. Singapore is holding an election even as it struggles to recover from a coronavirus outbreak, which hit dormitories housing low-paid migrant workers particularly hard. And staying in Singapore, researchers there have invented a disinfecting robot with an arm that mimics human movement to help take the load off overworked cleaners during the coronavirus pandemic.
So the cleaner does not need to go into those rooms. They can use the operating interface, just like a TV game control. And on top, they have a monitor. They can see the robot where it goes and show that this way. And we see some places they need to clean, so they can press a button to do the rest of the work. Because in hospitals they have and then in offices they use different chemicals. So the robot can take in any kind of chemicals. So therefore, what currently they're using now, we're going to put it in the robot for that purpose. So if they can kill 99%, the robot will also be able to do 99%. The robot they will looking at your furniture, looking at your equipment, or even doorknobs, or all these places. So these places, the human worker also need to take time to do the work. So with this robot, and also with their spraying systems, so they can actually make this job to be more effective, because the spray actually contain a electrostatic, just like the electrically charged, so they can wrap around the whole object by itself.
The XD Bot is a box-shaped creation on wheels mounted with a dexterous robotic limb, which can reach awkward locations such as under tables and beds. The robot, built by researchers at the city-state's Nanyang Technological University, or NTU, has a high-powered nozzle for spraying disinfectant, and it can tackle large surfaces rapidly. It can be controlled remotely with a laptop or tablet, reducing the risk to cleaners of becoming infected with the virus, which has killed more than 300,000 people worldwide. The cleaning robot differs from others on the market, which are mainly intended to clean floor surfaces and cannot disinfect odd-shaped objects. The robot could help meet growing calls in Singapore for more deep cleaning and disinfection services, with reports suggesting cleaners are having to work long hours as demand explodes during the pandemic. ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
Protektahan ang sarili laban sa coronavirus disease o COVID-19.
Narito ang ilang paalala.
Takpan ang ilong at bibig sa tuwing babahing at uubo. Gamitin ang looban ng siko. Kung gagamit naman ng tissue, ay tiyaking maitapon ito agad sa tamang basurahan. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong o bibig. Ugaliing maghugas ng mga kamay gamit ang sabon at umaagos na tubig. o magpahid ng alcohol-based sanitizer.
Gumamit ng face mask kung ikaw ay may ubot sipon. O kaya naman ay may inaalaga ang pasyente na mayroong simptomas ng respiratory illness. Itapon ng gamit na face mask sa tamang basurahan.
Sundin ang social distancing. Panatilihin ang 1 metrong layo mula sa ibang tao. Lalo na kapag nasa labas ng bahay. Kung maaari ay umiwas muna sa mga matataong lugar.
Laging tandaan, mahalaga ang kalinisan upang sakit ay maiwasan.
Filipino and Japanese researchers propose a new mangrove vegetation index or MVI to map mangroves and maximize its benefits according to a report in the Business Mirror. The MVI is a mangrove-specific index or measure that distinguishes mangrove areas from other vegetation. The MVI value increases with higher probability of an area being classified as mangroves. University of the Philippines Diliman senior researcher Alvin Baloloy said the data to be used in the MVI will be derived from free satellite images. Baloloy also said, quote, "We have recently simplified the mangrove index that will support rapid and accurate mapping of the mangroves that will not only be useful in our study sites in the Philippines and Japan, but also in other mangrove-rich countries." It's estimated that a hectare of mangroves can provide more than $3,200 worth of direct flood reduction benefits per year, according to the World Bank. More than 180 stranded Filipinos affected by the pandemic were repatriated in Thailand. Ian Celada was at the scene. Ian.
Sawadee Krap. 183 Filipinos in Phuket and neighboring provinces in Thailand joined a repatriation flight organized by the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok in partnership and with the assistance of the Filipino communities in Phuket.
Ang Phuket po ay roughly 900 kilometers away from Bangkok. So yun yung isang challenge, no? Tapos it's a 13-hour ride, no? And because flights are not yet normal, no? We traveled by land. The embassy team traveled by land to Phuket to make sure that we are here on time, no? We're here to be of service to our repatriates, our Filipinos in Phuket who have been waiting for so long for a flight back home. Nauna na po kasi ang the first 3 flights, nauna po ay ang Bangkok, no? Merong iilan from Phuket who were on those flights, but the great majority of Filipinos in Phuket were under lockdown for 2 months here. And so they missed the opportunity to go home for the first 3 flights. That's 2 government repatriation flights and a flight chartered by a Filipino-Thai company back home that we helped facilitate. So the situation is that for the next month, wala pa rin pong international flights out of Thailand, no? Merong iilan siguro, but only repatriation flights are viable at the moment. That's why the Philippine government's repatriation program, as our beloved Secretary of Foreign Affairs Theodore Locsin Jr. says, continues to be in service for our stranded kababayans abroad, not just in Thailand, of course, but also in other countries. So, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa ating Filipino community here in Thailand because they are the ones who actually, kept following up for this flight to happen. The Filipinos here work as employees in hotels and resorts, and we all know that all around the world, the tourism sector has been really adversely affected by the pandemic, and such is the same situation here. So we have the loss of jobs of our kababayans, and that's why even if there are there are flights, very, very few flights available out of Thailand via the Middle East or via Seoul. Ang mahal-mahal po. So, this is their only, this is their only hope, really, to be able to go home. So, we have realized that hope today. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we can continue serving our kababayans with flights, with repatriation flights. Of course, that is only possible with the partnership of our Philippine government agencies back home, as well as the Filipino communities in the different provinces here in Thailand. So maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayo lahat.
Nagbigay sa amin ng pag-aasa na makauwi kami lahat. Sa mga tumulong sa amin, nag-asikaso, governments and the people na tumulong kay Miss Lea and kay Miss Sheila na nag-asikaso sa amin lahat dito. Maraming salamat kasi hindi kayo nag-give up, tapos hindi rin kayo nagdalawang isip na tulungan pa at maghanap pa ng maraming tao na matutulungan para
makauwi. Una-una sa lahat po, nagpasalamat kami sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas at siyempre sa mga INC, especially ni Brother Manalo at sa mga INC dito sa Phuket na sila po ang tumulong sa amin. Hindi po kami pinababayaan sa sobrang sarap ng accommodation, sa mga pagkain nila. Nagpapasalamat talaga kami. At sobrang taos puso po namin papasalamat yung mga INC nandito sa Phuket.
Sobrang saya po. Yung sayang ba na hindi mo ma-explain kasi nga din stranded po kami dito. Saka sa mga nangyari na din. Yung saya na kumbaga pa hindi mo talaga ma-explain kung gaano kami lahat kasaya at saka ka-bless din. Then at least man lang na nasali kami sa repatriation.
Cut! 3 months na kami dito, walang trabaho kasi nga dahil sa COVID. So, kung dito kami, mas mahirap naman kasi nga walang trabaho, walang pagkain, yung bayad sa apartment. So, uwi na lang kami, pero yung about sa school, wala pa kaming balita if i-refund pa nila kung anong actions na gagawin nila. Maraming salamat sa lahat kasi nga itong past few months, medyo nakaka-depress na rin po ay hindi nga namin alam kung kailan kami makakauwi. Ilang beses na rin na-cancel yung flight, pero ngayon medyo napawi na siya. Masaya na rin po makakauwi. And thank you po sa embassy at saka kay Ma'am Lea at Ma'am Sheena na parang nag-guide sa amin na makontak yung embassy.
Una sa lahat, nagpapasalamat tayo sa taas at meron ginamit na mga tao para makatulong sa ating mga kababayan dito. Lalong-lalo na dito sa lugar ng Phuket, Thailand. Alam mo, na-brought out sa ating gobyerno na kung ano yung mga kailangan natin dito sa Phuket at dito sa mga kailangan in general actually sa Thailand, kung ano yung mga hinain natin at inihihingi natin ng tulong sa ating mahal na Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Sa hirap ng buhay dito sa lalo na ngayon, lahat jobless. And then, at the same time kami, tumutulong kami sa abot na aming makakaya sa pamagitan ng pagbibigay ng mga relief goods. Yung mga kababayan natin, nagtulong-tulong din po sa kanilang maliit na paraan para din po makatulong. Kumbaga, yung bayanihan natin, talaga applicable po sa ngayon.
Nung nalaman ko po yung problema ng mga co-workers ko, OFW po dito, doon po nag-start na nagkaroon ako ng burden na what if na may magawa ako na hindi ko ginawa, anong mangyayari sa kanila? So, if I will go home with my own, if I will save myself, I can. What will happen to them? So, yun, doon nagsimula. Then I started praying to God. Then God leads me. So, I asked can I mention my brother-in-law? I asked his help and is connected in BI. So, in BI Philippines. And then, yun naman, hindi naman ako nabigo. Binigyan niya na ako ng kasama niya din, yung kaibigan niya, na kasama niya din sa trabaho, yung si Sir Jujo Makaspa. My brother-in-law is Sir Eric Bistor. And then Sir Jujo, siya yung kumuha lahat ng informations, binigay ko sa kanya kung ano yung pinakailangan namin tulong. So yung in behalf of my co-OFWs here in Phuket, ipinaabot ko sa kanya na kailangan, gusto naming makauwi. So I said we need a repatriation direct from Thailand. In behalf of my OFWs, taos-puso po kaming nagpapasalamat sa inyo. Ayan po sila, makikita niyo po, marami po kami, 180 po. Kaya maraming salamat.
All passengers receive an email stating do's and don'ts once they arrive at Ninoy Aquino International Airport. This repatriation flight might be the end of their journey here in Thailand, but definitely will give hope that we start the new normal life together with their families. Reporting from Phuket, Thailand, this is Ian Silada, and we live in interesting times.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.